Day, and so this will impact the evening drive tonight. If you had some Friday night plans, you might want to reconsider and just kind of hunker down at home, because we will be seeing significant snowfall. It's going to start off kind of not very impressive, but then once the intensity amps up this evening, we're going to see stuff start to stick at a rapid pace. So let's take you through what a winter storm warning is. This means it's imminent. We not only have the ingredients, it's going to be happening very shortly. 8 inches of snow or more in a 12-hour period, or 6 inches of snow or more in a 6 to 9 hour period. We kind of have both of these scenarios, plus it could be a combination and some rain, freezing rain and sleet, in which we'll have a little bit more of a mixture down to our south that could cut down in some of those snow totals. And so that's what we're tracking as far as the winter storm warning. The timing of all of it, the snowfall arrival times, will be closer to 3 o'clock in our southern counties. And so we're already starting to see some precip there, but it could start as rain, and then the snowfall arrives around 3. Across the heart of Metro Detroit, off into our western counties around 4 o'clock. The farther you go north, the little later it's going to be. 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, up until Lapeer, Sandusky is when we start to see more widespread snow showers. Then it sticks with us, and as I mentioned, the intensity will amp up throughout the evening. So this is a live look at Exact Track 4D radar, where we have some rain showers in parts of Lenawee and Monroe counties. They have not moved north of the county line for Monroe, but if you look off into Lenawee County just to the northwest of Adrian, a little bit of a mixture there with some snow showers now inching close to Jackson, up towards Marshall, and even into Grand Rapids. We're going to zoom in a little closer, though, to give you more of that street level view. So through Dundee, down towards Lambertville, Blissfield, dealing with some light rain, but this is widespread and will continue to move northward throughout the next several hours. And so we do have a better handle of the low pressure track. A lot of moisture wrapped with it, as this was moisture from the Gulf of Mexico pushing northward. And as we look at the track of this low, shaping up to push just to our southeast. Now, if you've been with us for several days and we've been talking about this track, if it pushed farther southeast, we're on the northern edge of that, which is the colder sector, resulting in more snowfall amounts. And sure enough, as we look here, just northwest of the city is where we're going to likely have the most snowfall over the next really 12 to 24 hours. Right now, 36 degrees. With wind chill readings in the 20s, and so mostly cloudy skies out there, and a lot of us are in the mid to upper 30s, and so you'd think that we're going to be dealing with prolonged rain, but that's not necessarily the case when you factor in winds that are going to also pick up as we head in the afternoon. Feels like the 20s, and so with that feels like temperature, we still could hold on to a good chunk of frozen precip. So we'll be in the 30s throughout the afternoon. That results in a very heavy, wet snow. I can't stress enough, shovel in shifts later today, because this will be that heart attack kind of shoveling snow, and you're going to want to keep up on it with 2 inches per hour coming down. Conditions are going to deteriorate rapidly heading into the afternoon and evening. Now, we will see effective salt when it comes to the temperatures, because we'll be in the 30s, but when you factor in that intensity, the salt's not going to be able to keep up with how fast that snow is coming down. Wind gust forecast, and so we will have winds gusting upward of 30 miles per hour, really about 4 o'clock onward throughout the evening. So that factors into the wind chill, also factors into the fact we could see some scattered power outages. Not as widespread as the ice storms that we dealt with the last 2 weeks, but nonetheless, we still could see some power outages from this system. So your clouds and radar forecast shows the timing of this. Here's that snow in our southern zones by 3 o'clock and getting close to the Detroit area. Metro Detroit has that heavier snowfall by 4, 5 o'clock. 5 and 6, that pushes up into the thumb, and we stay in that heavy snow band, that darker shade of blue, throughout 8, 9, 10 o'clock tonight. It's not until midnight or so that we start to see that let up and push off to the east throughout the early morning hours on your Saturday. So what does that mean for your snowfall totals? I think it's looking much more likely that we're going to be in that 3 to 5 inch range the farther east you go, closer to the lakes in Canada, where we could have maybe a little more rain mixing in. We will have higher amounts as you get into Oakland County, Washtenaw County, easily 6 to 8 inches, if not more. This is showing where the models believe a heavier snow band is going to set up from about Jackson into Howell, Flint, Lapeer. That's where we could have some double-digit snowfall. I still think there's a little uncertainty with that band, but nonetheless, it will be in southeastern Michigan. It just could shift by 10 miles or so, and that would make a big difference for some of those cities. But I truly believe once you have about 8 8 inches of snow on the ground. Really, what's the difference between 8 inches and a foot? That's a lot of snow to be dealing with. So today's storm, once again, rapid snowfall for a good period between about 4 to 11 p.m. is when it's going to be the most intense, with 2 inches per hour at times. Thunder. Yeah, we could hear some thunder today, meaning thunder snow is possible, which is not very common. And so you could at least enjoy that. If you're outside, you might hear a few rumbles of thunder out of it. And then those winds could end up resulting in some scattered power outages. I'm going to end on a nice note. So for the kiddos that are looking forward to making a snowman, I have a little one at home who wants another Frosty because he was awfully sad when the last one melted. I think you'll be able to build a snowman early tomorrow morning because of this heavy wet snow. It's good packing snow, but we'll see a little melting as we go throughout the weekend. Temperatures will be in the low 40s, so we're above freezing, but given how much snow we get, it's going to take a little while, so you'll still get some good sledding in. It's not going to be too cold, but a bigger chance for melting going into Monday as we get close to 50 with a chance for some rain showers coming into the area. Christy?
Oh my gosh, the snowstorm and then all of a sudden the 50s. This has been a wild winter so far. Thanks so much, Ashley. And as Ashley mentioned, we're coming off of the ice storm of last week, and now DTE is issuing a warning about even more power outages because of the snow. And that is not anything that anyone wants to hear, but here we go. The utility is warning the snow might bring down trees and branches that are already weak from last week's ice storm. DTE says it could cause more damage to the electric system, and they also say they do have crews ready to go and reminding everyone to stay 25 feet away from any downed lines. We'll see how this all goes here today. The other big concern are the roads tonight for people driving home from work or anyone who has plans. You might want to change them. Priya Mann is checking in with County Road Commissions to see how the crews are preparing. She joins us live from Wayne County. Yeah, Priya, when people say, yeah, I was going to go out on Friday night, maybe the Netflix and the couch is the way to go.
Oh, yeah, you definitely want to stay inside tonight if you can. We are inside of a salt dome right now. I want to show you just this wild mountain of salt to give you a sense of just how much salt is here and the tons of salt that have already been distributed to salt trucks that are already out across Metro Detroit. So we've got about 80 to 100 salt trucks here in Oakland County. They are doing regular maintenance, road maintenance work right now. They're going to start switching over at around 3 o'clock this afternoon as those bands come in, that rain starts to switch from snow. This has been a tough storm to predict. Of course, they've got crews on standby. Take a listen to what an official from the Road Commission for Oakland County had to say just a short time ago.
This is a challenging one because the forecasts are all over the place. We could get anything from a lot of freezing rain to a foot of snow and anything in between. So the plan is we will be out. We don't yet know exactly what time we'll be out. It depends on when the precipitation starts. And we'll be either salting or plowing or both, depending on what it does.
And they're going to be keeping a close eye on Local 4. They've also got connections with the National Weather Service as this storm moves through. Of course, all eyes are going to be on the road. All this salt will be distributed across the roads, across Metro Detroit. This is 696 in Oakland County. Smooth sailing right now. We've got the overcast conditions here. But the one thing we've noticed is the wind has really started to pick up. Just take a look at the flag over there. The winds are starting to pick up as this system rolls through. Again, road crews are on standby right now doing a regular maintenance, road maintenance work. They are going to start switching over at around 3 o'clock as that storm intensifies. About 80 to 100 salt trucks here in Oakland County. That could continue through the overnight hours as this storm moves through. And of course, we will have you covered here on Local 4 Plus and Local 4 News later tonight. Reporting live in Oakland County, I'm Priya Mann, Local 4.
All right, thanks so much, Priya. We see those salt domes around the counties, but to actually be inside of one, it's always a cool visual. Thanks so much. We'll talk to you in just a little bit. And we are going to continue our coverage here of the winter weather heading our way this afternoon here on Local 4 Plus. We will have updated totals in the forecast when we come right back. Stay with us. We're talking about the snow conditions that are moving into the area later on this afternoon and really taking a look around the 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock hours and things are getting started. And we heard Ashley talking about the snow totals, which could be as much to 11 inches when we're looking out more of the western part of our viewing area. We were also talking a lot about road preparation because we know that people are going to be commuting on their way home on Friday night, and that's when the thick of it is really going to be going on. So joining me now is Andrew Kandravas. He is with Wayne County Director of Public Services. Andrew, did I pronounce your last name correctly, or correct me on that one?
No, you got me. Kandravas.
There you go. See, sometimes you get a little bit of luck on a Friday. All right, why don't you go ahead and tell me how Wayne County is preparing and what do you look at when we have a storm like this? And it feels like we've had some big storms and they've all been a little different in some way.
Yes, we've had quite a variety this winter of terrible storms. So we are well versed in this in Wayne County, obviously. It's all hands on deck, and we have everything available, and we've been ready. We've been getting ready for this, obviously, as your newscast has been talking about for days now. We have been preparing, but what exactly are we preparing for? So, you know, we're looking at rain turning into snow. And so we're preparing for plowing, and plowing is going to happen, especially, you know, after that 4 o'clock hour. So I'd really love if your viewers could try to stay off the roads, give wide berth to the plows, because we are going to be out there and it's going to be a heavy, wet snow that's going to take pushing off the road. So we are ready for anything that falls our way.
Andrew, can you explain to us what pre-treatment is like? I mean, do you have trucks out there that do any kind of like pre-salting, or what does that look like?
Yeah, you know, on certain storms where we know there's going to be ice falling, we do try to get out there and put the salt down so that there's not that binding of ice to the pavement. This is a little bit of a different storm. We know it's going to be rain going into snow. However, the temperatures and specifically the surface temperature is a warmer temperature. So we're not as fearful right now of ice as we were last week. That was a terrible ice storm, and you try to get ahead of that with salt being down, but we are salting. We will be salting as soon as we get some precipitation here, and we will be plowing all through the night.
So when you come off of a storm like that we did last week in the ice storm, and now we're looking at a significant amount of snow, what is it that your crews talk about changing strategy and about making sure that everyone's got caught up from their rest from last week, knowing that you will have to shift it out tonight?
Well, that's been a particular interest, you know, as every homeowner around here knows. There's been a lot of damage with limbs. So our crews have been out there. You know, we're working on potholes yesterday, and we're cleaning up debris from the fallen limbs all around the county. And now we're shifting over to snow and ice for the next 24 hours at least. So it's something we're used to here in Wayne County Department of Public Services. Our crews do a great job. They will be out there. Well, you do alter with an expected snow like this, which is heavier, wetter. You know, the temperature, the speed that you're taking the truck, and what the expectations are for how that snow is going to move. If you remember earlier in the season, we had a lot of drifting snow, powdery snow. That causes a bit of a different problem than the heavy, wet snow. So our crews are experienced to know, you know, how to treat those trucks and how to clear those roads.
All right, give us the numbers, Andrew. How many crews will be out at what time, and what are you looking at then at the overnight?
Oh, we've got everybody. We got everybody in the shop now. Everybody's out there. We got about 100 pieces of machinery to throw at this. We have the yards are all ready and stacked. Trucks are ready. We are just waiting for the snow to fall, and they're going to keep going all through the night. We don't. We send them home. We give them a break when needed, but really the focus is going to be on this fast falling snow that's going to hit us this evening, getting it out of the way, and then hopefully a nice warm up tomorrow and Sunday.
Yeah, that would help you guys out a lot. All right, Andrew Kandravas, Wayne County Director of Public Services, thanks so much for joining me. We'll be watching this afternoon, and best of luck to your crews. We'll check back in with you in just a bit.
Thank you.
All righty, and we know this winter storm heading here this afternoon. We are going to continue to have coverage live throughout the afternoon here on Local 4 Plus. Click on Detroit.com. We're going to be looping the radar so you can see how this storm is advancing. Also, get that Forewarn Weather app so you can check in and see where the weather is exactly where you live. I feel that's what we're talking to our forecasters all the time. We'll pop into Ashley and say, hey, what's going to be happening in Clawson? What's going to be happening in Ann Arbor? Because we want to know. Get that Forewarn Weather app and you will see exactly the conditions in your neighborhood. We're also going to have more snow totals for you coming up after the break, so stay with us for our continued coverage of the winter storm hitting our area this afternoon.
Welcome to the Michigan Lottery Show. We're now ready to select the Midday Daily 3 number for today. Today's winning Midday Daily 3 number is 403. We're now ready to select the Midday Daily 4 number for today. The Midday Daily 4 number is 4207. Good luck, everyone.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm forewarned meteorologist Ashley Barrissey. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm forewarned meteorologist Ashley Barrissey with an update on the winter storm warning that is now in effect for all of southeastern Michigan. And this will be in effect until 4 a.m. tomorrow as we are anticipating a very impactful snowstorm across the heart of Metro Detroit. So let's bring you up to speed on what we know. With this winter storm warning, we can expect 8 inches of snow or more in portions of southeastern Michigan within a 12-hour period. And the other areas that will not have those kind of amounts, we're locking into closer to 6 inches within a shorter period, and that could also be combined with some freezing rain and sleet. The onset of the snowfall arrival shows that we will have more snow mixing into our southern counties within the next couple hours, closer to 3. As you get into portions of Wayne, Washtenaw counties, up into Oakland, really the heart of Metro Detroit, 4 o'clock onward and up into the thumb, 5 o'clock, and this will persist throughout the evening. So let's show you exact track 4D radar, where we are already picking up some of that snowfall crossing the state line. Light snowflakes right now in parts of Monroe and Adrian, and a little bit of that mixture down by Toledo. Some of that might not be making it to the surface yet, but this will become more intense as we go throughout the next several hours. I'm zooming in to give you more street level view of our southern counties, so Monroe, Lenawee counties, so Blissfield, Dundee, up towards Milan, off into Monroe and Carlton is where we have the precipitation crossing the area at this time. As we give you more of a broad view, this is a very big low pressure system, and all this moisture was aided from the Gulf of Mexico as it pushed northward over the last couple days. And so we have a swath of moisture, but as it crosses the state line into a temperature profile a little more conducive to winter weather, we're starting to see that changeover from rain into snow. And a much better grasp on how this low pressure system is tracking. And so right now, the heart of the low is down towards southwest, but it will continue to push south of here, southeast of the city throughout the afternoon and evening, putting us on the cold side of this system, which brings significant snowfall, in which we'll have some heavy snow rates heading into the evening hours. So right now, 36, 37 across much of the area, 34 though up in Pontiac, Lapeer, 36 in Port Huron. When you factor in winds out of the east, it feels like we're in the mid to upper 20s. And so that's also going to play into what kind of precipitation we see at the surface. Today, as we head into the late evening, conditions will deteriorate rapidly as we will potentially have snow rates of up to 2 inches per hour, reducing visibility on the road for that evening rush hour drive. So hopefully folks can get home from work early, and a lot of those after school activities have already been canceled for a lot of school districts. Wind gusts forecast. So those winds start to pick up 4 o'clock onward as well, with gusts exceeding 30 to 35 miles per hour throughout the evening. I don't anticipate this to blow the snow as much because it's going to be very heavy and wet in nature. So it's not a dry snow that blows around. But with these kind of wind gusts, we could potentially have some scattered power outages. Not as widespread as the ice storms that we dealt with the last 2 weeks, but nonetheless, a few more power outages could come towards southeast Michigan. Let's take you through the timeline. 4 o'clock is when we start to see that snow draping Wayne County, pushing into our northern counties. And then by 5, 6 o'clock, most of the area dealing with snow. This does show some rain mixing into the south. That cuts down on snowfall totals if that ends up being the solution run that comes to fruition. But widespread snow throughout the evening hours and going into the early part of tonight. Before midnight onward, we start to see that push out, and we will get a tapering precipitation with still some cloud cover lingering early tomorrow. So the latest snowfall projections have the heavy snow band kind of setting up shop between Jackson, Howell, Flint, up towards Lapeer. As of right now, this is the area that could be upward of 10 inches of snow, into the double digits. But that banding of snow could fluctuate a little bit. And as we've mentioned, by 10 miles or so, that would make a significant difference per city. However, we're looking at a solid 6 to 8 inches, really between about Detroit and Flint. And then in the heart of the metro area, from Metro Airport to City Airport up towards Mount Clemens, probably more so in that 3 to 5 inch range. But you can see lesser amounts from Grosse Ile down to Monroe, where we anticipate a little more rain mixing in. So the takeaway for today's storm, shovel and shifts. We are anticipating the 2 inch per hour rate later on this evening. And don't be alarmed if you hear rumbles of thunder. We also anticipate the possibility of having some thunder snow. Rare phenomenon, actually kind of cool to experience, but it's just like having a thunderstorm in winter. The winds, those could also end up relaying into scattered power outages across the area. So you want to stay with your forewarned weather team, as we will continuously keep you updated throughout the afternoon, and we will have extended coverage of this with Christy McDonald on Local 4+.
And welcome back. You are watching our live coverage of the winter storm that is heading our area this afternoon. I'm Christy McDonald. Thanks so much for joining us. We are going to be here with you on Local 4+. Click on Detroit.com throughout the afternoon, updating the forecast for you, giving the snow totals so you can see what is going to be happening outside your door in just a matter of hours. We're talking a lot about potential power outages because the snow is expected to be very wet and heavy. DTE is already warning that there could be some outages, and again, reminding people that they do have crews at the ready to repair those outages, as well as reminding people to stay away from any down power lines that they may see. We've also been checking in with road commissions across Southeast Michigan, talking about how they're preparing. They're looking a lot at this as more of a shoveling situation, a plowing situation, because Ashley was talking about some time in the evening where we could have that 2 inches per hour rate of snowfall, which will make it pretty messy out there on the roads, especially for people who are commuting still this afternoon, heading home from work. If you can dodge out of work early, do it. You don't want to be on the roads during rush hour when the snow is coming down fast and furious. So let's go now and check in what's going on in Washtenaw County in preparation for everything. Tiffany Oliphant is joining me right now. Tiffany, happy Friday. Here we go. Another storm for you.
Absolutely. Another storm for us. And I just heard you telling people to dodge out of work. Definitely dodge out of work if you can. I would say that. And get your errands done, go to the grocery store, get to the gas station, whatever you have to do. I would tell you to do that so that you can, stay home if you can. And if necessary, that's one of the things that we would advise everyone out here watching.
Well, so go ahead and tell me, Tiffany, let's back up a little bit. It's been a heck of a week because we know that Ann Arbor and Washtenaw County got hit with the ice storm last week. Talk to me a little bit about how the preparations for that went, and then execution-wise, and now here we go, 7 days later, preparing for a different weather event, but significant nonetheless. Absolutely.
So during that ice storm, we were clear. Well, first we were treating the roads, and then as it shift over to ice, then we started to treat those roads, and then the trees came down, and so that then threw. It was like a gut punch to us because that was like Mother Nature just throwing everything she had at us. So with that being said, some of our crews didn't even have power themselves at their own homes, and so they came in and made sure that we delivered service to all of our residents here in Washtenaw County. And so they've actually this morning they're still clearing trees and debris from our roadways and chipping those trees. So now they have to shift now back to winter maintenance. And so shifting back to winter maintenance is just what we do. But we just want to let you know that we're out here working. We're treating our roads. We're trying to make sure that the traveling public, has safe roads and passable roads during this storm.
When you talk about staying home, or again, we'll use you on the doctor's note for dodge out early from work. But really, it is to give the crews a little bit of room when that snow starts getting going, and really so they have the ability to clear it out with the room and safety.
Absolutely, we really please, and also please be patient. We're saying that your meteorologist is saying that you're going to get snow every 2 inches an hour, or I think that's what she was saying. I'm sorry if I'm misquoting
No, you're
that.
right. She said at some point this evening there could be 2 inches an hour.
Right. So that's fast for us. So we just need everybody to be patient. We will get it done. We're going to be here tonight and tomorrow morning and all day tomorrow, actually, tomorrow morning, overnight. And so we just need everybody to be patient. And if they can stay home and watch from their window, that's great too. But we do know some emergency services, they can't. And so we say, when you see us, please give us room to work and just adjust your driving as you are on the roads, because the conditions change. And so we just would ask you to adjust your driving. And we're going to be out there going with our priority routes, which is your highways, county paved roads, until we can get to the subdivisions. So the subdivisions will get there once we can get those county roads and our highways clear for all traveling public.
Yeah, Tiffany, it's all about priority, and I think the public understands that. But it is never, it's never a bad idea. It's just a reminder that there is a plan in place for a snow event like this that you have. Tell us about the number of crews that you have, because we know that the needs in Washtenaw are very different from the needs in Wayne and in Macomb.
Yes, we have about 46 crews that will be on our roads this evening, and we'll just add these evening because they'll stay until 8. Some of them will stay until 8, and we shift. We do it in shifts, and we'll have our folks on the overnight who take care of our highways, and they'll take care of our highways and our county roads.
You said that there's been some pre-treating going on. Can you explain that for us?
Well, we're loading now, and they'll start pre-treating because we were just chipping and we were just tripping our trees and everything like that. So now we're shifting to now going to our treating and things of that nature. But if you get rain, it's hard to treat. We can't treat with rain because it gets washed off the roads. So we'll put some salt down, and we'll put some brine down here shortly.
All right, Tiffany Oliphant from Washtenaw County. Thanks so much for kind of giving us the background and what the plan is and how things are going to be going there tonight. And we hope your crews stay safe and that everyone has plenty of patience. We appreciate it. You have a good night, okay?
You too.
All right, thanks so much. Tiffany Oliphant from Washtenaw County. We've been checking in with the road commissions all around the area as this snowstorm is bearing down on southeast Michigan. Again, expected to hit starting around 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and then really picking up in speed throughout the evening. And so what we're being told right now is if you don't have to have plans to go out tonight, you might be better served staying at home. And again, we're going to have the snow totals going out throughout the afternoon, continue to update you that as well as the forecast so you can see exactly where this is. And Ashley was talking about how the bands of the snow lines and moving by 10 miles or so could really change how many inches that you could get from this storm that's coming up. And also bear in mind that this is going to be a wet, heavy snow. So if you're someone that likes to wait until all of the snow is done to clear off your driveway to shovel it or clear off your front walk, doctors are advising us to tell you that you should probably do it as you go because the snow is going to be very, very heavy. So it's always worth checking on your neighbors as well to make sure that they are okay if you have an elderly neighbor to help them out as well. We're going to continue to be here throughout the afternoon for you, watching this winter storm heading into our area. We will be right back. And welcome to our live coverage of the winter storm that is heading to southeast Michigan. I'm Christy McDonald. Thanks so much for joining us right here on Local 4 Plus and clickondetroit.com. It's a Friday. I mean, it is the first Friday in March, so why not buckle in and get ready for a snowstorm? Ashley Barrissey joins me live, and she's been tracking the storm and has the very latest in the snow totals for us and the path of this whole storm. Ashley?
Well, absolutely, Christy. It seems like we're averaging some kind of storm at least once a week over the last month, so why not continue? Even though it's March, we're still in winter. It's meteorological spring, but we have 17 days until the spring equinox, so we just have to get these winter storms in while we can, I guess. Right now, downtown Detroit quiet, 36 degrees, same in Ann Arbor, 36 in Holland, 35 in Adrian. But factoring in east-northeasterly winds, 10 to 15 miles per hour, those wind chill readings are cooler in the 20s. Winter storm warnings are currently in effect, and that's for all of southeastern Michigan from Monroe up towards Washtenaw County until 4 a.m. on Saturday. We anticipate the conditions to rapidly deteriorate throughout the evening and significant snowfall totals now that we have a much better gauge on the track of this low pressure system that's headed our way. Here's a look at Exact Track 4D radar, where we have on radar some snow showers in parts of Monroe. Lenawee County is now inching into Washtenaw on that very southern edge of Wayne County. But as we look at reports from airports and different METAR sites, it doesn't appear that all of this is making it to the surface yet. So it still has to cut through a layer of dry air before making it to the surface. And so we'll likely have more of this rain or a little bit of mix on the onset before snow showers really start to move in. So we still anticipate better snowfall arriving at the surface closer to about 3 o'clock in the afternoon throughout Lenawee, Monroe counties, pushing up into Wayne, Washtenaw counties around 4 to 5 o'clock. We then get up into the thumb, and then especially in the northern edge of the thumb, it's going to be throughout the evening, but widespread and staying rather steady for several hours late this afternoon and even into the early part of the overnight. 30-mile-per-hour wind gusts are anticipated starting around 4 o'clock this afternoon, and they will be upward of that by about 7. We could even have some wind gusts down to our south, getting close to 40 miles per hour. I point this out because that does factor into those wind chills, but it also could create some scattered power outages in the area. Not as widespread as the ice storms we dealt with the last 2 weeks, but nonetheless, these are gusty winds that could create some trouble, especially on some of those weak branches from the previous systems that we've had. Taking you step by step through this computer model, widespread snow being picked up on the model run by 4 o'clock from Toledo, north of Detroit, getting into some of our northern counties throughout the metro zone. But this continues to lift northward into the thumb by 5, 6 o'clock. The deeper shades of blue would indicate the banding of snow that would be the heaviest, where we could have 2 inches an hour coming down. We still have to start to see how this radar sets up throughout the afternoon and evening to really lock into where that banding is going to be, but likely upward of 6 to 8 inches in a lot of areas across Metro Detroit, and I think we'll have some pockets of double-digit snow accumulations. Now look at Toledo southward, heavy rain showers at this time at 6, and so if that creeps just 20 miles north, that's going to significantly cut down on the snowfall totals in parts of Monroe County. So I anticipate that rain-snow line to be hovering really close to the edge of southeastern Michigan, right by Canada, and this is where we have that uncertain area where we could have 3 to 5 inches of snow, a little less or a little more, all dictated by that rain-snow line throughout the evening. Nonetheless, the rest of lower Michigan dealing with widespread snow until about midnight. We'll have a few lingering streamers in the area. Then by 4 a.m. we'll definitely be drying out, maybe a few breaks in the clouds throughout the day on Saturday and warming up into the low 40s. So your snowfall forecast as we go throughout the afternoon and evening hours, showing still consistently about 3 to 5 inches for this sliver from really Port Huron, Mount Clemens, down towards Monroe, Grosse Ile on the lower end of that. This is because it's anticipating a little more rain mixing in. You get into parts of Oakland County, Washtenaw County, 6 to 8 inches, if not more, with the heaviest banding still projected between about Jackson, Howell, Flint, up into Lapeer, where we could have some double-digit accumulations. Here's the deal, though. 8 inches or more of snow on the ground, it's all going to feel the same because this is going to be a lot of snow to be shoveling or snow blowing. And so you do need to shovel in shifts. I can't emphasize that enough because at the rate of 2 inches per hour and the fact that it's going to be very heavy and wet in nature, this is the dangerous kind of shoveling because it's going to be such heavy snow. So try to get out there maybe every hour or two to keep up with this during the peak intensity, which is really between about 4 to 11 p.m. You also might hear a few rumbles of thunder as you're out there shoveling. snowing. Don't be alarmed. We call it thunder snow. It's a lot like a thunderstorm, as we could have some lightning in the upper atmosphere. And so instead of having rain precipitation, it comes down as snow. It's kind of a cool phenomenon, rather rare. And then the winds will be gusting up to 35, 40 miles per hour, and that could bring us a few scattered power outages. So these are the takeaways as we go into this afternoon and evening. Kim Adams will begin to give you the latest update throughout the rest of the day.
All right, thanks so much, Ashley. Interesting thunder snow on there phenomenon. Also, if you start getting socked with snow this afternoon and evening, we would love to see those pictures. Just send them on MyPics and download that Forewarn Weather app so you can get the exact forecast for where you live. And all these resources on clickondetroit.com. We also know that there is a bunch of closings of after-school activities. There's activities that school districts have in the evening. I know a lot of districts have closed down, so make sure that you check clickondetroit.com and you can see all of the closings there that are pertinent for you. All right, we have been looking at the roads and kind of more of the preparations for the snow that's going to be falling here this afternoon. But I'm joined now by Adrian Woodland from AAA. Adrian, it's good to see you. All right, so when you guys get ready there at AAA for a snowstorm to come in, coming off of an ice storm last week, what have you all been talking about?
Definitely we're prepared for the storm. We certainly expect there to be a higher number of calls for things like extrications, dead batteries, and flat tires. And we're urging motorists to follow the advice of local authorities. And if you must get on the road, be sure to have at least a half a tank of gas, slow your speed, and stay off of closed roads.
All right, that's always good advice and always something good to remember. When we're talking about snow that's coming down potentially in some areas, Adrian, of 2 inches an hour, and there are people that do have to drive. I know sometimes we make light of saying that you should just leave work early and go home. We have a lot of first responders or people that have to get where they're going. What should we put in our car, or what should we make sure that we have just in case we end up getting stopped or we're in a massive traffic jam because of snow?
Definitely. You want to have a well-stocked emergency kit that will include things like a cell phone car charger, a first aid kit, extra blankets. If you're traveling in the vehicle with others, you want to have extra water and enough snacks on hand for all of the passengers in your vehicle, including pets. If you have pets with you, you want to have things like a flashlight and extra batteries, a reflective warning triangle, and obviously an ice scraper and a snow brush.
That's a really good one, because sometimes I think we've all seen cars that have just like a tiny hole that has been made where they're looking out the front and maybe looking out the back. That is something that is pretty hazardous, and making sure that you clear all of your windows off so you can see as much as possible when you're driving in snow like this.
Yes, that's definitely a piece of advice that we give to drivers. If you cannot, avoid going out on the roads, you want to remove all the snow and ice from the entirety of your vehicle. And this includes the hood, the roof, and the trunk of your vehicle.
Right, because it flies up when you start driving. Let me ask you this. I think sometimes when we see really large snowstorms and we see backups on the freeway, or if there is some kind of collision where there is a jam, I'm always struck by what should we do if we're in that kind of accident or some kind of pileup? Should we be staying in our car? Should we be getting out of our car on the road? Does AAA have any advice in that regard?
If you're stranded, if your vehicle is inoperable, you want to try to stay in your vehicle. Your vehicle can provide shelter, and it also allows emergency responders to best locate you, and it prevents you from being struck by an approaching vehicle. If you must get out of your vehicle, you want to ensure that the surroundings are safe. And, if you are stuck in traffic, to make that gas last longer, don't leave your car running. If there is an extended traffic jam, turn off the engine for a period, then turn back on to reheat the inside of the vehicle if it's gotten too cold again. And you want to make sure your exhaust pipe is snow-free.
That's a good point. This is a lot of great preparation tips kind of going into this afternoon. But what are you anticipating, and what are you getting ready for at AAA's in terms of, going into this evening and with this storm coming in?
We're definitely expecting, that call volumes will be high. during this time period. One thing is motorists that need assistance, they can also request assistance by using our free AAA mobile app or going to AAA.com. So you can request roadside assistance on both of those ways.
Okay, sounds good. Adrienne Woodland from AAA, thanks so much for checking in again and just reminding us of those tips because, you know, we live in Michigan. This isn't our first rodeo when it comes to snow, but it's always great reminders, especially sometimes we forget and catches us off guard. So thanks so much, and you take care tonight.
Thank you for having me.
All right, we're continuing our coverage of this winter storm that's heading into southeast Michigan later on this afternoon and throughout the evening. Kim Adams is going to be joining us at the top of the hour, but we are going to continue to have the forecast for you and also snow totals as you can see this storm coming in right here on Local 4 Plus and clickondetroit.com. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Good afternoon. I'm forewarned meteorologist Kim Adams. I apologize for the interruption, but we do want to let you know that we are seeing some snow across the Ohio border and just now getting into Monroe County. Monroe is reporting light snow, but you go over to Adrian and they're reporting a mix of rain with a little snow, and that's going to be the trend for at least the next hour before all of this changes over to snowfall. Let's take you in a little bit closer here so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. From Detroit extending down through I-75 through parts of Monroe County, just now seeing